Have you ever just stopped and wondered, how does something like Dubai even happen? How can one person's ideas literally build a city from nothing but sand and shape a whole nation's future? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today, using Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum's book, Flashes of Thought, as our guide. We're going to unpack the thinking that turned a desert into a global metropolis. I mean, think about it. How do you build a future? That's a huge question, right? It sounds almost impossible. Like, where do you possibly start when all you have is a blank canvas and these ambitions that seem to defy gravity? Well, the book's answer is pretty surprising. It says you don't start with a big committee meeting or some dry 10-year plan. Nope. It all starts with something way smaller, almost instant, just a single, powerful spark. A flash of thought. And there you have it. That's the big idea. The incredible, very real city of Dubai we see today, this global hub for business and tech, was born from these flashes of thought. These were visions that were bold enough to imagine a future that, honestly, most people just couldn't see. Okay, so let's rewind and go back to the very beginning. To really get a handle on this incredible transformation, we've got to understand the philosophy that was driving the whole thing. And this right here, this is the key. Visionary leadership. It's not just about having a cool idea, It's about being able to paint a picture of the future that's so clear, so ambitious, that it gets an entire nation fired up to make it real. The book really frames this as the absolute bedrock of all progress. And this philosophy is all about transforming challenges into opportunities. So, Flashes of Thought isn't just a book of memories or stories. Think of it more like a blueprint for leadership. It's a whole new way of thinking that looks at a challenge not as a roadblock, but as the raw material you need to build something new and innovative. All right, so you have this grand vision, but how do you actually make it happen in the real world? A big plan is one thing, but you need some kind of internal engine, right? Something to power through all the doubters and the setbacks that are definitely going to come your way. And this is where it gets really interesting. The book talks about positivity not as some fluffy, feel-good idea, but as a practical, essential tool. It's a strategic asset. It's what you pull out of your toolbox when literally everyone is telling you that your big, crazy idea is impossible. So, how do you turn that mindset into actual results? Well, it breaks down into a few steps. First, you have to cultivate that vision, really nurture it. Then, and this is crucial, you have to take decisive risks. You have to have the guts to act. And finally, you need resilience, a whole lot of it. Because let's be real, the road to doing something amazing is never a straight line. Which brings us to bold action. It's time to talk about execution. How do you take these flashes of thought, fuel them with that positive mindset, and actually turn them into something real, something that changes the world? Well, you do it with big, bold moves that the whole world notices. Look at this timeline. Founding Emirates Airline, opening Dubai Internet City, building the Burj Khalifa. Each one of these wasn't just a project. It was a statement. It was proof. These are the real, tangible results you get when you combine a visionary philosophy with a willingness to take big risks. What we're seeing here is a total shift in how you even think about governance. The book talks about moving away from the old school way of doing things, just keeping things as they are. Instead, it's about an innovation-driven approach that is always looking to the future, that embraces calculated risks, and that sees progress not as a one-time thing, but as a constant need. But why? What's the point of all this steel, all this glass, all this innovation? Is it just about having the biggest and the best? The book is really clear on this. The giant skyscrapers and the massive projects, they aren't the end goal. No, the real goal, the heart of the entire vision, is building for the people. It's about national prosperity, but not just in terms of money. It's about things like education, well-being, community, and creating a knowledge economy. Every single investment in a new building or a new road is really an investment in people. The economic growth is just the engine, not the destination. The real destination is a better life for everyone. And of course, to make sure all this development actually helps everyone, you have to build it on a foundation of trust. That's where these guiding principles come in: transparency, accountability, integrity, and ethical leadership. The book insists these aren't just buzzwords you throw around. They're the absolute bedrock you need for a society where progress is shared by all. Ultimately, it all boils down to this one simple, powerful idea:
The true measure of a nation is the happiness of its people. It's not about GDP, it's not about how many tourists you get, it's about well-being. This idea is so central that the UAE actually created a Minister of State for Happiness. That's a pretty powerful way to show you're serious about putting people first.
So let's look to the future. Because a real legacy isn't just about what you accomplish in your own time. It's about what you build for the generations that will come after you. And that brings us to this number, 2071. This represents the UAE Centennial 2071 project. I mean, talk about forward thinking. This is a plan that looks a full 50 years into the future. The goal? To make the UAE the best country in the world by the time it celebrates its 100th anniversary. It's hard to find a better example of long-term vision than that. And this ambition, it doesn't just stop at their own borders. The final goal laid out in the book is to shape a lasting global influence. It's about contributing to the whole world through collaboration and progress, sharing what's been learned along the way. And that brings us full circle, back to a big question. This book gives us a peek into one leader's vision, but the ideas inside it, things like thinking ahead, being resilient, having a real purpose, those are universal. So it leaves us with something to think about. What will your legacy be? What flashes of thought will you use to build your own future?